We live, baby. We live. Motherfuckers. We live. We live. Actually, by the way, except for Stace, who's heard of the podcast, who's been on a podcast? I don't know, just in case.
My friend's been on it.
My friend too.
And who is that? Just in case, give me a shout.
Femi.
Serafina.
Yeah.
Femi.
And who's your friend? Who's the other friend that's been on the podcast?
Yeah.
Like,
Femi.
Oh, Femi. Oh, okay. I didn't hear you properly. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Femi. My
Yeah,
G.
yeah. Femi's going to hear this and he's going to look at it. He's like, yo, man, got a shout out, cuz.
Yes, Femi. Shout outs to Femi.
Yeah, me.
Shout out to Sky. Sun Kiss you. Doing bits.
Hey. Yeah, did you watch the episode that I had with him like a few weeks ago?
A little bit. I haven't watched it, no. So
No, that was a good episode, man. It's 2 episodes actually. So yeah, you got about 2.5 hours worth to watch back on that one. So that was a good one. But yeah, episode, what is this? 112.
Oh, okay. Yes, ladies. Get it, Ryan.
When is this? This is the 4th time maybe I've had an all girls guest on an episode. So this is like, yeah, this is quite. I need more of this. They're like, I'm special. Alexa, play Movado. I'm special. Get me. But yeah, obviously, if you've know the podcast before, we've got Stacey already here. You know what I mean? The most richest woman I've known in creative field.
Inside and out.
She's like, yes. Not yet though. But we've got, obviously, I contacted Stace actually, wanted to come back because of she got posted by Bella Hadid for a little photo shoot, and that I said, you know what, before you go clear, come to the podcast again, because then when people go back to your history, you'll be like, yes, I'm involved. So you know what I'm saying? So let me catch back. And then she was like, you know what, I would love to come back because I've got some female friends of mine that would love to have a conversation about various topics. I know you ladies have the topics as well. And this is an open conversation, so anything you want to know about guys' perspective, as well as me knowing about what a girl's perspective, especially when I think half of the audience is men. So there's quite a mixed view as well, especially on a platform like this that's going to go all over the world. So I think it's only right to have a good conversation, an open conversation as well, and understand different perspectives. So it's nice that it's only 1 of me and 5 of you, because I don't mind that. I don't get no madness from mandem. Like, oh, why are you saying that, fam? You're gay. I'm like, fam, go talk to women then. Like, they probably have the same view as me, and you'll lose, bruv. You'll lose. So at the end of the day, this is always a good setting to be in. Anyway, bruv, I can't take having conversations with men sometimes. I like women energy, bruv.
Yes,
you have a different energy.
So you're comfortable with being in an all-woman space?
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Okay.
100%.
Period.
Yeah. But obviously everybody knows Stace, but I will let everybody introduce themselves, starting with Josephine. She's, you know what I'm saying? She's doing, you know what? Model ready.
Well, I'm not wearing any makeup, so I've got to do something special. Josephine, Jassy, Queen first.
Oh,
great. Always. I actually, can I 2 seconds.
Oh shit.
Queen first.
okay, yes.
Oh, I love that energy.
Creative producer, curator, designer, thinker, booty shaker.
Cheers!
Yes.
That's
me. That's me.
He said, city girls are in my criteria, bruv. It's in my CV. Get me. Okay, next word is Courtney.
What's good?
Just
I don't even
introduce
know what
yourself.
to say.
Hey, boo.
Tell them what you do.
Queen first.
I'm a fine artist at trade, I think.
Mm.
I don't know, and I'm a part of Rising Arts Agency's leadership cohort. Shit, I don't know. I just make art and
That's dope.
yeah,
Though.
think a
That's
lot.
always dope. That's always
Yeah.
dope. That's always dope.
Critical thinker, she is.
Mhm.
Bare clicks. This is poetry room. Bare clicks. Bare clicks. Bare clicks.
Creative director. Yeah.
Get me. Rima.
Rema.
Oh, I am so sorry. My apologies. I do not want to get dashed out in the comments, any DMs, group chats. I am so sorry. Bruv, I'm
Drag.
just saying.
It's okay. Everyone gets it wrong. It's Rema McKenna.
Okay.
Stacey, I can see the little.
I
love it. Rema McKenna literally flows.
Ooh,
In it.
symmetry.
It's a vibe, it's an energy.
Has any artist like named you on songs yet? Just use your name in that. Like
That's a good
rhyme scheme, you know.
Rema McKenna.
Mm.
It's a bar. My name's a bar.
It is a bar. It is a bar.
Boy, wrap it real quick, Rema.
I can't.
But yeah, introduce yourself, please.
So yeah, Rema McKenna. I'm from London, but I've been living in Bristol for the last couple of years. I'm a Facebook community reporter for Bristol Live. What else do I do? I'm a creative thinker.
A raver.
Presenter, raver.
Come on.
Love a night out. No, when you know when someone asks you about yourself, you're like, what do I actually do? Creator. Yeah, just doing bits out here. I'm just trying to live. Check out my Instagram if you want to know what I do.
Cheese.
At Rema Vibe.
Cheese. And Eula.
Honey.
If I'm pronouncing that, huh?
Yuella.
Jesus Christ. Thank you, Lord Jesus. Yeah.
Ooh, child, you might get dragged.
I know, I might get dragged, you know.
No, it's all good. So yeah, I'm a writer, content creator, creative producer. I'm the engagement producer at Rising Arts Agency. And you know, making films, just trying to use my creative energy in a good way, in a good productive way. And I'm trying to help my community out here from how to play games.
If I had sound effects, I'm doing bare sound effects for the gunshot. you can hear the bounty killer. Stop it! You hear bare bounty killer in the sound, bro. What? Mad. But yeah. Thank you, ladies, for coming on.
Let me introduce myself still.
Bruv.
Everyone introduce themselves.
No.
They know you, bruv.
I'm here for the first time.
Alright, go on then.
Okay, hi everyone.
Here.
I'm Stacey. I'm a graphic designer and I'm a creative producer. And that's it.
Bare creative producers in the building, you know. Mad thing.
Innit?
It's interesting to see. Especially, it looks like you could be a girl group in the creative space. You get me? One of them ones.
Funny you should say that.
Yeah, hold that thought.
Yeah, hold that thought, literally.
Jesus, who's the Beyonce?
He said it first.
Huh?
Yes, Rema.
Remember was like,
Who
yes,
said that? What? Get out of here.
pure Beyonce's up in here, fam.
Because wait, let's say the Beyonce, no, not Beyonce. Destiny's Child never broke up, so you got LaToya still there, and you got who's the other one? Who's the other chick?
Latavia.
Oh.
Is it Latavia?
You got LaToya, Latavia. You've got Michelle, Beyonce, Kelly, and if you want to be funny, you would have Sarah.
No, we don't count her still.
Okay, she was in there for 6 months.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how ride or die y'all are.
No, don't count that still.
Clearly not.
All right, cool.
Everyone's like that. She don't count.
Who's the Beyonce? Who's the Kelly? Who's the Michelle?
Kelly. 100%.
Sorry. Here's what it is.
Kelly's baddie.
Let's not argue, I'm joking.
Wait,
She's
has
baddie.
anybody heard that new Kelly Rowland song now? I haven't.
Coffee.
No.
Yeah.
Is it good?
I haven't.
Yeah,
I haven't
cool?
I like it.
I've been
I was like, Kelly Rowland, the only reason you're putting this out is because of the topic you talked with, I forgot her name. She was on live talking about sex toys. So it was like,
You
wow.
went his face. Wait, what's this song?
Wait,
What
Kelly-
with Kelly Rowland did a live. She was doing a series of lives.
Yeah.
On was it like, I don't know, I kind of thought it was like the kind of nightcap vibes.
Yeah, it was like
coffee,
after dark shit. Yeah.
After dark, you know. And she was talking. I only saw one with Michelle. Funnily enough.
No, it
and
was
Michelle
someone
was
else
like,
I
"I'm
saw.
too Christian for this." Yeah, no. And then Michelle had to drop out, and she added someone.
No, I saw the one with Lala.
Oh yeah, Lala.
That's the one. That's
Lala.
They were talking about sex toys, and I said, "Oh, whoa, what's this? You're meant to be like the wholesome queen that I see you online. You can't be doing this."
Lala? I don't know.
No, with Kelly. I was like, Kelly, you're
not
my babe.
Kelly. No.
Awesome.
No. Kelly has been out here.
Oh yeah, but I wanted that to be not exposed to the real world, man.
She did like, you know, motivation, lay it on me.
Yes,
all these
do
songs.
it on songs.
Yeah, you know. Yes, you are. You're in a baby. I'ma be motivation.
Yeah.
Listen, I wanted that, like, do a Janet, man. Do Janet. Just talk about it in songs and keep it pushing. Don't put it in interviews. You get me?
Why?
That's true, Fenix.
Like that.
It's
Why
her
not?
time. She can do what she wants without anything.
Yeah, let her do her thing. But I just thought, like, I've never seen Kelly like this before in my life, so I can't really.
I haven't been online for like 2 weeks, so I feel like I'm totally out of everything. But I do find it funny because I feel like, and maybe this is a boy thing, I don't know if I'm being, but just like seeing women in like many different lights. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh no, she's too that. I'm like, what? Like, I'm like
100%,
bad
100.
I'm like yoga. I'm like hippie. I'm like scream in your face. I'm like, do you know what I mean? I'm all of that. So I don't know what y'all are saying. Do you know what I mean though?
No,
People are like, oh, what?
Actually,
I don't know.
Like, we're women. Like, come on. Come on.
But do you know what I think is quite funny? Something that I've been looking into, like, really on a basic bitch level, is that when women who are in the public eye have babies, their next album happens to be a lot more sexualized.
Ooh,
really?
I don't know. Like,
I'm just examples. I need to know examples.
Yeah.
Beyonce. Straight away. She's always been sexual, but when she came out with the album Beyonce after she had Blue, she was talking about the tactician, please. Oh, she was doing, like, she was swearing. Beyonce had never sworn in a song before. And Kelly, I don't know, it really like chill, but I think there's an argument for it that women are struggling with their sexualities after they have children, obviously, because the world are like, you're a mum now, you can't do that at all.
Yeah.
And then they're trying to fight back.
Like, overcompensate for it.
It's difficult. It's hard.
Yeah.
But anyway, carry on, everyone. Sorry.
No, because I've thought about it like that. Like when I see women that have just had children, seeing them in a dance a few months later, and I'm like, didn't you just have a 3 months ago? You just.
What? And does that make you feel weird?
No, it's just like it makes me feel like.
Why though?
Why? Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I think it's because I always think like, because I think when it comes to obviously being Filipino, like when Filipino women have a baby, they always focus on that. They don't focus on going out. That's how I've been brought up, as like my aunts, some of my nephews, and all that other stuff around my family. No one goes out. Like the main focus for the women and the man as well is providing, and also for the child. So growing up like that and seeing it, and then coming here to the UK and seeing that for the first time, especially, and I was just like, wait, what?
Culture thing.
Yeah, it's a culture thing, but at the same time, like, I can't diminish a woman's joy. Like if they've been having a stressful time, you know what I'm saying? So it's sometimes you need to let something in.
It's like you just spent 9 months with a human growing inside of your womb, and then you had to push it out of your vagina. You want to go to the rave, like what?
You want to move your body.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm one of those people. Dance. I'm gonna work for as long as possible before I give birth.
Yeah,
personally,
me too.
It's such a massive part of my identity, like doing my own thing. And obviously, like when I have a child, I'll look after the child and everything. But I'm doing me. I'm not getting involved.
Thank you, girl.
That's the thing.
Thank
That's
you.
the modern woman. That's the modern woman.
Yeah, but there are some women who would think that you're selfish for being like that.
Yeah.
And there, you know, there's some people that would think that you're, you know, wasting away. When my mum had me, she was 28, and she was considered a geriatric mum. They were like, "Fam, you are so old. We don't even know if you're going to be able to have this baby." And she was 28. What? I'm 25, and I'm like, okay, cool.
You're like,
oops.
Okay. Times are ticking.
Shit, Jerry. You know, I think. Is it still stand? 28 is a geriatric mother. I think it's 30
now. I think it's moved up.
Think it's young though.
Definitely moved up. Like even my mom now, she's like, I'm like, yeah, I think I might have my first child before I'm 30. And she's like, no, she's like, that's too late. I'm like,
my mom says that to me.
I'm 20. Like, think about the timeline. She goes, She goes, because then you can have all your kids, and then by the time you're 40, your kids can be grown, and you can enjoy life with your husband. I'm like, but like, look at like my 20s are gonna be cut so short. If I have a kid in the next 2 years, I was like, that's just not possible.
Yeah. My opinion on that is, like I'm 100% will not have a child until I'm absolutely ready. I was even talking about this the other day. Like, one of my biggest fears is having an unexpected baby. Like, that is genuinely one of my biggest fears, and that is something a woman has to deal with so frequently. Like, so frequently. It's just like,
and I
literally.
No, you're right.
Like, my view on that is totally like, I guess my mother had 6 children she wasn't prepared for. All of us, like 2 of us were fostered, the rest were adopted. Do you know what I mean? She was a mess. And I'm like, I would never, ever put myself in that position. That's me personally. Like, I could be 40 and have a kid. I don't care. You have to have an mom.
Aren't there cases like that? Over 30, 35, 40 years? Yeah,
like,
so...
Sorry, I was gonna say, I feel like the worst thing. I feel like the worst thing to do would be to have kids or to get married because you felt pressured, or because like, your parents were telling you. Like, I've spoken to my mum about marriage, and she's been like, "You're ready. You do it. You do it. You're responsible." And I'm like, "No, mum." I was like, "I'm."
If she knew what happens outside the house.
You're literally like.
She'd be like,
there's a
what is this scumbaggery?
Oh, yeah, actually, it was a picture of him behind me.
No, but I feel like getting married or having kids just for the sake of it, or just because of the fact that you're being pressured, is probably the worst thing you could do. Because at the end of the day, the only person who that's going to be a burden on is you. So, like, I respect my parents and I love my parents, but I'm just out here trying to live my life. Like, I want to get married eventually one day, and I do want to have kids one day. But I think also, like, because of our parents' generation, they don't realize that that's not the way everyone thinks. Like, not all my friends want to get married or have kids. Like, I've spoken to loads of my friends who don't want to get married, who don't want to have kids. But I think, like, for my mum, in her like mind, she's like, "So what's your purpose?" Like, I'm like,
purpose.
Yeah.
There's more to life.
Yeah.
Like, some people.
Is that the same for you?
No, but I know that that's a thing.
Yeah.
And I you know, like what you were saying, Josie, about your fear being unwanted pregnancy or unexpected pregnancy. Mine is wasting away, my potential just wasting away, not feeling. And kids come into unexpected pregnancy comes into that, but I just don't like the idea. Like, I'm reading a book at the moment called 3 Women. And it's a non-fiction book, but it's written like a fiction book. And it's about 3 different women and their lives after they've kind of got married and have kids, and their relationship with desire. And fam, it's outrageous. I'm not looking forward to it. I'm not, because, okay, so one of the girls, she has a little bit awkward, but she kind of had this weird relationship with her teacher. And now that she's going through the court process of, like, you know, with that kind of child high school teacher situation, which is one thing, which is not what relates. A woman who likes to sleep with other men. Sorry, my connection's fucking up.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. So one is the what likes his wife have sex with other men. And then the other one is that her husband won't touch her at all, and she just wants to be like desired. And you can just see it happening. You having kids, and then people just see you as a mum and as a wife, and your purpose is just to clean the house and run after little kids, and then it's like, cool.
That's so
cool.
So sorry, Yuella. So are you like more worried about wasting away before you have a child, or having a child?
I think my thing is just generally wasting away. Or just feeling like I never achieved what I was supposed to do. But I think having kids and getting married can really contribute to that if you're not careful.
100%
is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's a good thing. That little scenario you just put out with the book here reminds me of 365 Days on Netflix.
365 days.
I haven't seen that.
I haven't seen that.
The one where they get lost in like a desert or something.
No.
I just know that as well.
27 hours or so. Is that the other one?
No, that's the 37. Is it 37?
What's that one? That's where he has to cut his own arm.
Yeah, it's on arm off, innit? Yeah.
Oh my god.
No. I'm talking. So basically, 365 Days is on Netflix. It's like 50 Shades of Grey times 10.
Ooh. Oh, okay. Let me go.
Yeah, but also it's like 50 Shades. Sorry, it's like 50 Shades. It's got 3 books. They're doing another 2 films. So it was like a trending. It was like the top film for like 2 weeks. This past 2 weeks.
So the actor, he is.
Oh, the Italian brother. Look at you. Disgusting,
Really?
Look, she's like, really? Let me do my research while you can't see it still. I know some of you are typing it on your phone right now. Why?
I'm watching it. You mad?
But no, I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of heated. So I was just like, oh, I'm like, why during quarantine you release this film? Why? I don't need this right now. I don't need this. The streets is hot already. I don't need this. I don't need this.
Stacey, is it good? Or Ryan, is it good?
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
I've seen his face.
There's subtitles. There's bare subtitles.
What language is it in?
It's Italian and Polish and English. So there's a mixture. But it is good though. It is good. So you've got Italian mafia and a normal girl. So imagine that dynamic, and then how they get together and how it's actually plays out is kind of crazy as well. So it's like I'm gonna give you one of the plots. Like it's in the beginning anyway. So it's like one of the mafia gets like shot up, the Italian mafia, and the head dies, but the heir to the throne, like of the Italian mafia, gets shot as well, but he doesn't die. He like survives the bullet. But during his near-death experience, he sees a woman, saves his life, almost like a saves his life type of thing. Like could be his love of his life or whatever. And and then a few years later, he ends up seeing the same woman that he's been dreaming about since he survived the bullet. Like in an airport, like 5 years later.
Wow.
And he's already the mob boss of the whole of Italy, if you know what I'm saying. So it's like that dynamic, and then how they actually get together is mad as well. Everyone's got their own views on that. So it's quite crazy. But I'm not gonna ruin the ending. The ending just spun me, but you have to watch the film for that.
I love that.
Yeah.
Can't wait. That sounds good.
Yeah. So I definitely want to have a review on that film, especially because not a lot of people have watched it yet, and all that other stuff. But it's a good film. I recommend it. Everyone on Twitter was on madness. I said, "Yo, is it past 11 p.m.? What's going on here, bruv? Like demon time settings is on active today, bruv." And it's only 4 p.m. Bruv, stay calm, bruv. Like, come on, man. As actually, does anybody like know about No Signal, the radio shows, all the other stuff?
Yeah.
Do you guys listen to any of them?
I think it's sick what they're doing. Like the amount of different like artists and DJs and musicians that they're getting together. I think it's just so nice as well because obviously like everyone was so depressed because of everything that's been happening. And then I saw it on Twitter like when they first started, and they've had so many different people like come together. I've listened into it. So they did I think they did a Drake versus Rihanna one.
I'm still angry.
They did-
How can R&B Drake lose to Rihanna?
No. What?
Explain, bruv.
You guys think Drake was? Have you guys heard Drake's new album?
Yes, his grime album.
Proper grimy, isn't it?
I was literally listening to it just before here, like, do you want to? How many times did this dude say "blem"? Like, come on, man.
Yeah, innit? Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. I know a few people in Toronto. That was the slang, you know.
Do you know what? Someone else told me that apparently people in Toronto sound a lot like people from London.
Yeah,
slang. I've heard that the slang's really similar.
That,
Oh, 100%. Like when I was in
as well, like how he talks.
Yeah, when I was out there, I was out there for a few weeks, and they always, you could tell, like I'd be going to the hood just to get some food, and you would hear that. The way they talk is like literally how us in the UK would slang talk.
Sick.
And just sounds so weird and
Did they say cuz? Yeah. They say blem. You hear blem. You hear Marv, like Marv hungry, like starving Marvin, that type of slang. So you hear bare stuff, man. So it's not surprising to me that no one knows about it. So it is what it is. But yeah, like No Signal obviously has been happening. So I've been on to the late night shows. Wednesday night interlude, slow jams with R&B and slow bashment nights. I'm on that. Come on.
Does it just make you want to get out?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I can't do it.
I'm in my feelings.
I just want to go out, literally.
I miss partying so much. I miss partying so much.
I miss getting lit, getting
being called today, like.
Nah, I'm in my feelings in them nights.
The introverts of the group.
I know, we're like,
I'm not enjoying this at all. That's jokes.
Nah, I'm in my feelings during those nights because I'm like, you man are playing R&B tunes that I listen to by myself. Now you're listening.
To be fair though, remember when you posted in the group the other day about that party in Stokes Croft? I didn't even see it until it was sold out, but
there's loads of now.
I kind of can't even, that's not what I'm like. Obviously I really want to be sweaty in a rave, but I think what I'm actually really want is just to have my friends around me, like it, even if just in my house or something. Like I'm not too fussed about going out to flipping, do you know what I mean? Stokes Croft beer garden.
No, I'm not gonna lie, I want to go out.
I want to catch a dance, but I want to catch wines. I want to drink Hennessy. I'm not taking that out for the mandem. I will not take that out for the mandem. I will not take it out. I'll not take it out. God forbid, I will not take it out. Certain man will replay that as a clip.
Oh my
God. You know those gifs?
Yeah.
You do remember?
Alright, I'm gonna try and make that into a gif, you know, for the streets. Like, yo, man, repost this.
You're disgusting.
Yeah, it looks like I do it. But no, I'm an R&B slow jams, slow bashment guy. Like I even got, imagine, I've got a slow bashment playlist.
I love it.
Like I'm still updating it as we speak.
Ooh, share it with us.
So how many songs have I got on it? Shit, hold on, let me just make sure. Because I just updated it last night a little bit, added a few songs.
Bashment is nice, but have you ever heard of Afrobeats?
Yes, Stacey.
Wow.
I'm 100%.
Is there any slow Afrobeat tunes?
Yes.
Send them to me. Send it, man.
I actually will.
I've got.
I'm with you on that, Stacey.
Isn't that right, Robert?
I love Afrobeat.
How many songs is this? I've got at least over 50 songs in the playlist.
Send it true and put it in the chat.
Yeah, literally full of like I've even got a Sound Clash playlist because I've been doing R&B Sound Clashes on live recently as well. So, everybody can go watch that on my ones. But speaking of like missing going out, do you guys get scared or anything like that when you say you miss going out and you want to go out to these outdoor raves that they're doing and you're like, I want to, I don't want to?
Because of COVID?
Yeah, COVID. Like, as an example, like, I went to the Bristol March a few weeks back and a lot of people didn't want to go out because they were scared. Like, a lot of people I knew anyway, personally, they were like, listen, I'm kind of scared just because fear for my life due to my conditions as well as other people. So it's kind of tricky for everybody else. But do you guys feel that fear of just what, even though you want to go out, you don't want to? Like,
yeah, 100%. Because I mean, like, even like not I don't want to bring stats into it, but like people are like
bring them sis.
Like how COVID is hitting us is a very scary rate. So obviously I feel like, but I feel like with social media there's been a, like, the pressure hasn't been too much for like people who like wanted to go to the march and weren't able to. It wasn't like, oh, if you're not there then you're not supporting the team, etc., etc. It was like, if you want to support it, there's so many different ways of doing it while staying in home, because like we're suffering from like 2 viruses. Do you get me?
One's never ending. Isn't it crazy that you just said social media didn't pressure? Like, that's actually how people live now. Like, oh, it's okay because not anything to you, Stacey, but it's like, it's okay because social media wasn't like.
Tell me I'm a bad person.
You know what I mean? Social media says okay. That's literally how I'm feeling right now. Anyway, I think I'm petrified. Everyone's dirty as well. Like, I can't. I went to London last week. I was in London for the whole week. I stayed at my auntie's for like most of the week, so I was just in a house in Enfield in the middle of nowhere. And then one night I went to see my friends in East, and I cycled. Let me tell you now, there is no virus in London. There is no virus in London City. There is nothing. People were going crazy. I basically spent like 3 days fixing up a bike so I could have a London bike, because I've wanted one for ages, so I could just get about without going on public transport. And they might as well have just got on a tube, because as soon as I hit the canal in East, there was boat parties, the bars were open, people getting takeaway tinnies and whatnot. Every single Tom, Dick and Harry has got a Boris bike, but no one knows how to cycle it. So everyone was in the way. I had someone literally like barge into me while I was on my bike. And I'm here like from like this little haven in Bristol, like, take me, yes. She was like trying to get to my friend. I was petrified. I was literally petrified. I got to my friend's house and then I started like, I was a bit panicked, like, wherever we go, we're not going anywhere near there, please. Are you joking? First of all, but second of all, literally,
oh my god.
But yeah, it's a bit mad. So that itself told me that I'm scared. You know what I'm saying?
No, fair enough. Now that's very understandable. Like, I think there, like, even when I was wanting to go to the march, like, my parents were worried. Like, they were like, listen, like, wear masks, don't, as much as possible, don't stand next to people at like close proximity, even though it's going to be crowded. Like, try, because like, we are a risk as well. Like, our family is our risk as well. Like, come on, like, be smart about it. So mask was on at all times. I even had my own hand sanitizer that I would not let people use, like, unless I squirt in their hand. Like, that's how. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, throw it at them.
Yeah, and I wasn't there like to, because I think there were some comments after like certain protests before the Bristol one saying like, you're going there to just take photos, you're not there to protest and stuff like that. And I'm like, most of these photographers that go there are there to protest, but also show the world that this is actually, you know, like, important, and you can make it art and show the art world, the photography world, that like this is happening and we need to support that. Like, how do you think about some of these photographs that were taken during like World War II happened and various other things like that? Like, it's showing history. So this is a part of history that in the digital world where nothing can be a lot of the times be erased. You can always find something towards it. It's there. so people can learn and the next generation can just learn. So like I did that. I posted something on my creative page, like one of my photography pages, like the stuff I've taken and stuff like that. And yeah, that was it. Like I just posted it, show my support, that, and try to educate as much as possible, because Filipinos especially have a big history with Black people, like a huge history. Like I've spoken about this last week as well, where one of the reasons Philippines actually got its independence from America, especially anti-Black criticism as well, is due to a Black man coming saying, I'm not messing with these guys. I'm coming with you guys because they keep calling you the N-word. They keep calling you the brown people. They keep calling you this and that. Let's drive them out. Turns out after that, we have our own independence. So, you know what I mean? Not just that, like there's other stuff obviously due to being Catholic, Christian. That's a religious sense, and that's already a completely different topic, as we all know. But like that history alone should show that as Filipinos we have to do something. Like I always joke around about this, like if you think about it, yeah, bro, Filipinos are the Blacks of Asia. Like we have to keep this 100. And in the history itself, it kind of is true, because let me ask all you women this: when you go thinking of going to a trip to Asia, is Philippines in your top 5 or even your top 10 in your list? If you think about Asia.
Mine is, but like my best friend's Filipino.
Okay, shout out to them. Don't know.
I don't think of 10 places, which is bad in geography. But maybe you're right.
Do you think of it, or do you even? You know what I'm saying?
So I completely think of it as in a different space, not like geographically, but in my brain. But yeah, I feel more comfortable going there.
Yeah, it's different. It's a completely different thing. Even though that we still have like it was too little too late that the anti-Black like mindset is still there. Like at one point there were soaps like to bleach our skin. It's like there was also this, and obviously Korea has that problem as well, and like China, Thailand at one point, Vietnamese, Malaysia, various other countries that have this thing. So this mindset is created. It's basically man-made. So the only way we can destroy that is by ourselves, by supporting the people that, you know, if we're about this, we are all one race. We are all about this equality. If you are about that as a person, if you're listening, watching, or whatever, support them. Educate your people, know your rights, know your culture, know your history, and then when you know history and be able to stand by certain people and make sure that you're good and put that forward, that influences more, not just one person but a whole lot of people, because that word of mouth just gonna keep going and going and going and going. So at the end of the day, that's what I wish that I can do, because I don't speak about it a lot. But when someone asks me, I'm on it. Like, and I'll be cool with posting about it, talking about it. I'll be cool with like all my stories on my personal page. I post about it a lot. When I see something about this whole situation, I'll post about it. Like just on my story. It won't be like on my timeline, but
I think I really I appreciate what you're saying. Even just what you just said now about the history of Filipinos, that's interesting. I will now do my research. But it's something there about the peer-to-peer, the one-to-one, your closest relationships. I think that's more important. Like I've taken 2 whatever weeks off social media because I can't stand it yet, and I don't know how to express I don't know how to express myself on there without coming on there and just being like
angry at everybody.
I'm still trying to but I think there's just this false sense of I'm doing something right. Obviously I understand what you're saying and I understand that you care, but there's this false people think that if they just share a post that they are doing something. It's like, that is so wrong. It's so wrong. And it's so wrong as well that you're doing it now in this wave of pressure. It's like, can you not educate yourselves in silence, please? I don't need to see. If you read something, just read it. Like, you don't need to share it. There's enough being shared right now. This is my opinion, of course, but do you know what I mean? There's something about,
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I saw this article which I actually shared, so
sorry.
but it was actually really important because it was a conversation that I'd had with so many Black people, and the headline was something like watching white people wake up to racism in real time is exhausting. And I was like, this is so true. It is just like, it's so, like, obviously I think it's important to share resources on social media and have those conversations, but I think for Black people it's also really exhausting because
I can't go online. I literally can't go online. Like, still, every time
I deactivated them for a bit as well. I deactivated my Instagram for a bit because I was just, everything, the content was so concentrated and saturated, and I was just like, it's just so exhausting because this is something that we've been talking about our whole lives, and it's not, like, it's just something that is always, like, people always, oh, you always make it about race. Bitch, it is about race.
You want to make it about race.
It is about race, and it's like, I think the thing I find the most exhausting is the fact that, like, there's so many people who have been there when I've experienced racism, or have heard about it, or I've told them certain situations and they haven't stepped up, or they've been like, oh, that's really shit, and then haven't done anything, or they've been racist themselves, or they said something really ignorant, and now they want to step up. And I don't think it's ever too late to educate yourself. I would never say that. People need to educate themselves, but you don't need to message me to tell me you're willing to learn, or that, oh my God, I'm so willing to educate myself. Go and educate yourself in silence.
Literally, no one needs to. Exactly. There's statements now. Sorry.
Yeah,
like, this is
like, I'm learning.
It's literally like, so hi everyone, I'm just going to let you all know that for all these years I've been so totally ignorant and ignoring racism. Today I've decided to open my eyes, take my white privilege blinkers off, and show the world that I care. It's like, what's worse? Why don't you just read my confessions?
Who did that? You're a G. Whoever did that, you're a G. You are a G. I love that. That was the perfect timing for that. I don't know who that was. That was a gunshots.
It was Josie.
Whatever it is, let me just clap.
Bang on.
Let me just clap quickly. Let me just clap because I'm gonna put gunshots in the air. I'm putting bare Jamaican horns. I'm putting bare things. That deserves a clap, bruv. Because that was a beautiful insert, bro. That's a beautiful one. But I definitely agree for what you're saying though. Like, do it in. You can do it in silence, and you can post about it, no problem. Do whatever you gotta do. But like, I've had even conversation. Luckily enough, no one in my circle, my specific circle, has pressured me on posting these things, because a lot of people get pressure of like saying like, and get asked, not famous people, but just like normal people, if you know what I'm saying. There have been situations like that, and luckily enough that I haven't experienced that, because I think the people around me know how I am like. Being around, like, if you know my history alone, like with feeling like a minority. Imagine I lived in the Emirates for a few years before coming to the UK. Like, there, I'm definitely a minority.
Yeah.
Like, they look at me as a Asian, not just an Asian guy, but a Christian man, a Christian guy. Like, religion is very strong there. That alone is a different culture shock. And then when I come here and I get adjusted to that, now that I'm in a different culture shock, you know what I'm saying? I'm still a minority, but there are different people, not like me, but at least that I can relate to and know stuff with and experience certain things with, you know what I mean? But at the same time, you have to know that there are bigger issues than just you. I think that's the problem with the time we are in now. That's the most heaviest time, is that we have this thing of putting that, what about me? But how can you support yourself when, how can you be like me, when without them, without those people that out there, how would you be you? To a certain degree, if you know what I'm saying. Like, don't certain experiences make you as a person, but if you don't experience things with people that can relate to you and educate you and various other things, you ain't gonna be you. So support your, you know what I'm saying? It's like, support your peoples before you, in this type of scenario, in this type of situation, support your peoples, stand by them, whatever it is, and hopefully, God willing, in prayer, like hopefully everybody's praying that this actually changes, because you know what I'm saying. That.
But you know what? I've kind of lost hope in Bristol. Like,
really?
I can't even like. No, I actually like when Edward Colston came out. I was like, yes, this city is it. And then last week, I
had a conversation about that last week.
That's my relationship with the city, because I don't know if any of you saw. Remo was on the Bristol Post. It was
Oh yeah. Okay.
I saw some of the mandem on the news. I saw some of the mandem in the news.
What do you call it? The gravestone.
The gravestone.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
It broke my heart. It broke my heart.
No, same. I nearly, same. It's fucked.
And it was like,
but that's it.
Alone or something like it was written on it. I was just like,
look what you made me do, or something.
Yeah, look what you made me do.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Now things are really gonna heat up.
And it's like,
remember,
you're out here fighting for human rights, and you're angry because
too much, man. It's too much.
But I think it's really important for us to contextualize all of this in the fact that we live in a society now where everything is individualized. Like before, we came from a time where it was all about the collective, it was all about the community, it was all about, you know, you grew up, obviously I'm not saying that this is essentially my family's experience, but in Britain, if you were a blacksmith, your whole family were a blacksmith, you stay where you are, no one moves, it's all the whole community. And now we're in this space where it's about the nuclear family, it's all individualized, it's all about capitalism. It's like, you know, you need to one up everyone else. It's me and my family against the whole wide world. And then when it comes to issues like this, it's all individualized, and we're always thinking about ourselves, but we're also thinking about what can I do, like in my sense, like in my little, in my small capacity. And we don't take into consideration the fact that our government is failing us systematically day to day to day to day to day. Why is it the responsibility of the individuals to make change when, fam, I get so pissed off. I get so pissed off about this, because it's like, there's only so much individuals can do with our limited resources, with our limited money, with our minimum wage, with our fucking like
that's the big
meals
thing
that we got the other day for our kids. Like, how can we create this change when it's people at the top, when the government are saying that taking the knee was from Game of Thrones, when anyway.
Oh my God,
that angered me.
I'm sorry.
I'm not gonna lie, that angered me.
Someone explain to me what happened. Can someone explain to me what happened? I didn't.
Little batty hole. Oh, I don't even know the guy's name. I don't know the guy's name.
Batty hole, matey.
The batty hole.
Batty hole.
Hey.
A dirty batty hole. He went on the news. I don't even know the guy's name.
Oh, Cummings.
I don't even know the guy. No, it's not Cummings.
Cummings.
No, it's not coming.
It's not Cummings.
Dominic Raab.
It's Raab. Yeah. Him.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sir.
Went on the news, yeah, and they were like asking him about taking the knee, and he was like, "Oh, well, you know, this, or I don't know where that came from Game of Thrones," and said that it was subjugating the group and it was undermining what people were fighting for. And the woman said, "Would you do it?" And he said, "The only person I'll do it is for our queen and to propose to my wife."
I
How old is he?
Wife when she asked. Sorry.
How old was my man?
He's not even that old. He's like, you know, like middle-aged, but not old.
Middle-aged to me is like just above me, like 30 plus. So I'm not
middle-aged.
He's like at the, you know, early 40s, mid 40s.
Okay, he old. All right.
Let's just call him 50.
He's
But
old. He's old.
it's
He's
outrageous. So then when it comes to issues like these people that are going to gravestones and mashing them up and saying, look what you made me do, they're disenfranchised the same way we are, fam.
Yeah, you're true. Yeah,
it's
I
a class
totally
thing.
see you.
the government
It's
can't.
a class thing.
Yeah,
And it's the government, and then we look at each other saying you against it. We should all be looking up and saying, "Oh, what a bomba clout! Oh, why you not?"
What you do? Where this?
I'm mad. I'm sorry. I'm gonna sit down. It's the gin and tea.
The
It's all
yardie came out
bullshit.
of it, you know. I want you bomb. Hey, the yardie man came out of it, you know. Mad. But no, like I agree 100%. Like I've had lives. I've gone to Instagram Live and just had conversations with people that are talking about like during all the protest stuff, and when they were going on London protests and Birmingham and stuff like that, and always the conversation leads to how do we actually get, like, try to erase it? How do we progress and erase it? And main one is mainly about
we lost someone. We lost JC.
Yeah, she got a link, so she got a link. But the topic of conversation is mainly like how do we get that out the way? So like promoting Black business, promoting Black businesses, promoting like creators that have power in the social media sense. So like it's kind of a weird thing to see, because I think a lot of people would think that it doesn't exist. When it does.
People are dumb.
When it does, like it does exist. There you go, she's back. You're back.
Beautiful.
Yeah, the like Black businesses that are in higher power do exist. Like I found like I've met someone that's Black that owns a construction company. I've met a Black man that owns a nightclub. I've met a guy that owns a computing company. I met a group. I forgot their names, but they're very popular on social media. They're like 5 women that do a lot of tech software development and stuff like that. I forgot their names, but there are businesses like this, and they do exist. And a lot of people say it doesn't, but when it does, the only thing you have to do is promote. It can't just be clothing. It can't just be music. It can't just be various other things.
Food.
Yeah. Hey, listen, bare food shops. Hey, I'm cool with that. Cool, do your thing. Bare food delivery shops. Get me? I miss yardie food as well, so I wish I could order, but it's a bit of a madness. But yeah, it does exist, and we have to promote these other things. Like there's Black doctors, there's Black surgeons, there's Black execs, there's various other ethnic execs especially that can boost us up. But like these people don't flex.
I feel like
like they don't show the rollie, they don't show the chains, they don't show the nice cars, they don't show this.
That's a problem with social media as well. It's like people talk about, oh yeah, we want this and we want that. I want to see Black people in this section, in that section. But then if they don't have enough clout, people don't care, and that's a huge problem. Because these are some of the same people that are complaining like, oh, we're not seeing enough variety. But some people are so ingrained that like if they don't have X amount of followers, or if they don't have a blue tick next to their name, there's no validation to them. Like, does that mean 10 years ago when we didn't have Instagram and stuff like that, there was no validation to these careers? These were still very top careers. And like social media has just twisted our perception of what success actually means.
Yeah. Like,
damn.
Yeah, like as an example, like that owns like various events and stuff like that. A lot of people own events, like club events, especially the ones that probably we go to are Black owned. Like well, depending on the person, but the ones I go to are, I think, probably 80 to 75% like are owned by literally Black owners. Like Recess is one. Like Recess is a good example. There's obviously Faded and Lux, Trending, Roller Vibe. There's so many other places, but like there's certain other places. And why is it that there are not more Black club owners?
That's the problem. Like, and most of these things that you're stating are all people that have done it on their own. They've made it like you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
they're not part of a profession. Like, I miss the government chat, but like, how can we say there's change when you look at the government?
Yeah. Like, yeah, I've seen it. Like, there's a conversation of recently actually where this guy
I've never seen Afro in the government. Sorry, I said I've never seen Afro in the government. I was whispering, but sorry.
Okay.
I tweeted them the other day saying how hard is it to hire more black people. I feel like so many companies treat it as if it's like a milestone.
Yeah,
it is. It really is. The white revelation.
It's not that hard. Like, just hire more black stuff, and like, don't just hire black people for the sake of it. Hire it because they're actually good at what they do and because they're talented and they're successful.
Yeah.
They drive. Like, don't just hire black people just to fill in the numbers.
The perfect example. Yeah, one of the perfect examples of that is in tech.
Yeah, of course. But it's harder than that.
I only know one. Actually, she's a friend of mine. She's the only robotics engineer that's a woman in her field. Black woman that's in robotics engineering in the UK. There's none else.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
that's how. But the thing is, the thing is that she doesn't even flex like that. Like, she's not even like that type of person. You know what I'm saying? So it's quite hard to obviously be in those fields, but at the same time, how can as people we get these people into fields that we don't even like help them, support them? You know what I'm saying?
It's harder than just hiring, because it's like, well, people don't think it's for them. Why don't people think it's for them? Because there is only one black person there. Why? And also, it's like who recruits? All white old men.
Who applies? How are they gonna apply?
The thing is, I think as well, like, in journalism, I'm a journalist, and like.
And more tune for your head top. So watch how you speak on my name. You know.
The issue is. I said, like, I feel like a lot of black people probably don't apply to go into journalism because, one, it's that thing, Josie, of what you said about them feeling like it's not for them, but like, also your staff is all white, so a lot of the content that you're creating, like, you want it to be diverse, but it's not going to reach its maximum potential because your staff is not diverse. And then there's even looking at like how black people are perceived and how they're presented in publications, and the way that we're shown in the media, just it puts you off wanting to work in.
100%.
Yeah. It puts you off. I sent him a link to a Daily Mail article, just like a recent one. You know, the lawless and reckless front page that they did. Did you see that?
Yeah.
It was about the protests, I think. And that was literally like 2 weeks ago. So it's like, how is it that black people aren't gonna want to apply to go into certain sectors and be presented in a negative light? So it's like what you said. It's literally starting from like top level, like HR. That is where they need to start breaking down those barriers. Otherwise,
and management, CEO level.